All right, let's see where the GoPro's at. No. Let's see. No, not there. There you are. Let's get this review started. Good morning, YouTube. This is David, the Georgia photographer, and today what I want to talk about is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. Now, the GoPro Hero 7 Black is the one I've been vlogging with for about 6 months now, give or take. I've had it for a while. I've had time to use it and learn some of the things that are good about it, some of the things that are bad, so consider this like a long-term review, sort of. Now, I've got a list of things that I want to go over. I've got some negatives and I've got some positives. So you're going to see a lot of people make reviews of this little camera and they're just going to bash it and bash it and bash it and bash it. To me, it's a pretty good balance for what it's for. It does really well as an action camera. That's what it's designed for originally, so it does do that really well. And the stabilization, in my opinion, is uncanny. It works really well. I've seen people complain about background artifacts and weird stuff happening in the background. I never notice it because I'm looking at the subject of the video. I'm not worrying about the corners in the background and what's going on with a tree over here. That don't matter to me. So at the end of the day, these are the things that I like and I don't like about the GoPro. Now I'm going to start with the negatives. And the reason I'm going to start with the negatives is so I can finish on a positive note. I'd rather do that is to just bash it unendingly and complain about it nonstop. So with that, let's get into this. Now, the first thing about the GoPro that I don't like is not the GoPro at all. It's the software. The software on the computer is terrible. What I want to do is I want to plug my USB-C cable into this little camera with it trapped in its cage like I have it right now. And I want to be able to unload those videos straight into the computer. It will not do it. It won't read it as an external drive, and it auto launches the GoPro software when you plug it in. I don't really worry too much about the auto launching of the software. It's annoying, but it's not the worst thing on earth. But what bothers me is I can't even go in that software and drag those videos out. I've tried. I can't get them out of the software. So it won't let me transfer through the USB-C into my hard drive on my computer where I do my editing. I have to literally dismantle the camera out of the cage, take the battery door, open it up, and take the card out and plug it straight in the computer to be able to get the videos directly off the memory card. That's just silly. Why should I have to go to all that trouble when they've got a USB-C port right on the camera? It would be simple. Just jack in, let you read it like a drive, like a USB drive, since the card reads just like one, and just off barrel. But it won't let me. So I have to dismantle it, pull the card, plug it into my little card reader, and then transfer onto my backup drive so I can edit my video. I really wish that USB-C would allow me to just pop through so I didn't have to dismantle the rig to get into it to be able to do edits. That's just bad. That's the main thing I don't like about this camera is that. The next thing I don't like is that silly external adapter. I've got mine jury-rigged with zip ties and junk on the side of the camera right now. And the whole needing the adapter for the Rode Video Micro is just silly. It really is. They could have put a mic input on this camera. There's room. I guarantee you they could have got it in there if they'd have wanted to. I think what they're trying to do, Louis Rossman, I think it is the guy that does the Apple repair videos where he bashes Apple pretty much every day. He said it best. They are trying to be like Apple. They're taking away functions and then selling them back to you as dongles. And for a GoPro, that's bad. Because this thing, I've done hit it on stuff and bent the pins on the USB-C connector on my adapter, and that adapter is expensive. And I'm just waiting on it to quit working. There's going to be a point when I shoot a piece of this video and it just don't work. And at that point, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to buy another one because third-party ones don't work. So you don't have a choice. It should have a passive, basically impedance coupler that you could plug in your mic and just plug it straight into the GoPro, kind of like the iPhone has with the headphone adapter. There's no reason they can't have one of those. and couple it in without having all this extra USB-C connectivity and junk. That's a real bummer. The next one, I'm gonna complain about battery life, but it's an action camera and it's only this big, so the battery is small. You get about an hour out of a battery, and that's filming and kind of in standby mode. It'll run about an hour and then it's dead. So I have 2 batteries. I carry a spare with me. That normally gets me through whatever I'm needing to do, so I don't worry too much about battery life. I could buy a 3rd battery and I'd have plenty, but switching batteries is another pain because I've got it caged, so I have to dismantle the cage, get the batteries, switch it out, put it all back together. You know, it's not a quick thing to change. And that's another thing, is they could have put, you know, some 1/4 studs. I would accept a little bit bigger GoPro with maybe wider or even a little thicker on the bottom with a 1/4 stud. Just one would make a big difference, because then you wouldn't have to put it in a cage box. I've got a little cage here that has cold shoe on the top and some 1/4 studs here and there that allows you to connect stuff to it. It's just, it's a box. You have to stick the GoPro in it, put a back plate on it, tighten down a set screw so it don't move around, you know. It does give me a filter thread, so I've got a variable ND filter on it, but it's just a pain. I mean, it really would be nice if there was a 1/4 stud. Just one would be a big change, you know. Then you could run an L bracket and you could mount all this crap externally and be able to access stuff. You know, even if you put it on the side, it would still be loads more useful. All right, my next gripe is the card access. At first, it's using them little micro SD cards, and I get it. Space is a premium in a GoPro. So you've got this little tiny card, and it's right beside the battery, and it's just all I can do with my fingernail to click it and release it so I can pull it out of the camera. I can get them in and out, but man, I wish they went in the side where the USB-C port, and I think they've even got they've got some kind of HDMI or some other port on the side. They could eliminate that port and put a mic jack and I'd be set. Anyway, but I wish the card access was not under the battery door, because if that were the case, I would charge the GoPro externally and save myself the dismantling functionality. So if the card was on the side, now I get it, sometimes the wiring of the circuit board in there is such that you can't move the card over here because the way the board layout architecture is, it won't facilitate it. But I do know some of this is done for compactness as well. You know, it's just, I just don't like where the card's at. It's just a pain to get to. I've done brought this point up, and that's that you have to add a cage to be able to add many functions. Now, GoPro has a whole slew of attachments for action camera use, but when it comes to vloggers, you have to buy a tripod yourself, and you have to buy a cage, and you have to buy an ND filter, and you have to buy their stupid adapter to run a mic. I have my mic on a little tower to get the wind muff from the micro out of the frame because of the wide angleness of the camera will see it. Now some of the positives. These are the things I really like about the GoPro. The number one thing I like about this GoPro is that stabilization. The stabilization is uncanny in this camera. It works so well. I don't have any trouble walking and talking dialogue or bumping this table. Like, the camera's moving right now physically. I'm bumping the table it's sitting on. If this had been my iPhone, even with its stabilization, you know, you can hear the fingers thumping the table, I'm sure. Even then, the camera on my iPhone or my X-T3, there'd be movement. This, it cleans it all up. Y'all didn't see it moving. I mean, it just works. Something else I like about it is the touchscreen. The touchscreen menu system is pretty intuitive. It doesn't take long to get the camera up and running and doing what you want it to do. And because of that, you don't need a lot of external buttons. It has a power button, which doubles as a mode button to change it from camera to time-lapse to video. And then it has a start-stop button on top. That's the external buttons. Now, you can default it over to the old style GoPro mode where it operates on the little multiple button presses and all that, but the touchscreen on the back is the way to go. And everything is pretty much in 4 directions of swiping, and you can get to all the different settings. And once you learn your way around those menus, they're not very big menus, then you can set the camera up really fast and get it to do what you want. I do like that about it. The next big thing I like about this camera is that it's lightweight. It doesn't kill you to carry it around and vlog with it. And you can set it in little places. You can stick it in nooks and crannies, and it's easy to set up here and there. It's just, it being so light, it doesn't weigh you down. So, you know, if you're walking and talking to the camera, it's not that bad. It's easy to pack in your pack. It's easy to, everything about it being so, it's a small form factor. You can travel with it easily. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't take up a lot of room in my camera bag. That's a great perk. The next thing I like about it is the 120 slow-mo, and it has 240. I don't use the slow-mo a lot, but when I do, it takes buttery smooth slow-mo. It looks beautiful. It's actually impressive to me how well the slow-mo really works on this camera. Some things to be aware of with the Hero 7. One, the live streaming apparently is a problem, and it's time consuming and an issue to use. I haven't tried it, so I don't know personally, but a lot of people I have seen on YouTube have complained about the live streaming functionality and how it doesn't work really all that well. Another thing that we noticed when we were in Hawaii, we were trying to do some like snorkeling. When the water drops of the ocean would touch the touch screen, it would do stuff. It would switch modes, and it would change like the settings for your video. It would switch it to camera mode. It did all sorts of weird things because there's a lockout function, and you have to swipe it a certain way, and then there's a little lock symbol. You hit that lock symbol and it locks out the touch screen, and you have to do a certain sequence to unlock it, and it shows you what to do. That's not an issue, but that keeps it from the water touching it and making it do things. You know, when you splash it in the ocean, it doesn't make it go into time-lapse mode, which it did a couple of times. Another thing that's kind of about the GoPro and kind of about the cage I'm using a cage I got off of Amazon, and the cage works well. It fits good and everything works fine there, but the buttons are in such a location that power button's kind of hard to manipulate through the cage. I could probably put the cage in the middle of the machine and open up the pocket a little more, and it'd be easier to hit, but I find myself having trouble turning the camera on and off at times. Now the top button is easy, it works perfectly, and it's super easy to mash, but that side button's a little bit touchy to get through the cage on. All in all, I really like the little Hero. It works great. I thought I was going to like it more. I really wished it had an input for a microphone. If it had a 3.5mm input, I would have zero real complaints about this camera. Without that, I've got this stupid thing hanging off the side just so I can pipe in some audio. Other than the issues I've listed at the beginning of this video, it's a great little camera. As far as vlogging goes, that's what I like to do with it. It just works. And like, it auto rotates. If you turn the camera upside down to get it close to the ground, it'll auto flip the video for you, so you don't have to try and turn it over in the software and all that. It's got all sorts of little functionality like that. But yeah, I like the camera. It works. At the end of the day, you just got to determine if it's right for you. If you're using it for an action camera, it's a great camera. If you're using it for vlogging, there's other cameras that do good vlogging work. That A6400 is supposed to be a really good camera, and so is the little Panasonic Lumix cameras. Those GH series cameras apparently have excellent stabilization and work really well. So with that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and if you like the video, hit the like button. If you like the channel, there's a subscribe button and a bell down there. You know what all that's for. So until next time, y'all take care, and we'll see y'all soon. Bye bye.